All right, we're good.
Right.
Okay, what is good, guys? What's good? Welcome to today's. We're actually trying something new right now. We're actually live right now. This is being recorded, so if you're watching this in 10 minutes, in an hour, in 60 days, well, this just happened right now. So definitely interesting to go live on Twitter and on YouTube now, right, Jordan? Because before we were doing this differently.
Yeah.
So yeah. So today's guest is actually Trident Betting. He's actually right now. Where are you at right now, man? Really interesting place.
I'm in Las Vegas right now.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right.
living it up or trying to.
Yeah, what are
You
you
got
doing in
any
Las
plans while you're out
Vegas?
there?
What's
Yeah,
that?
You got
what
any
are you
plans
doing
while
out
you're out
there?
there?
Yeah, well, I just arrived this afternoon. I'm here till Sunday, so my goal is to play as many casinos or play poker in as many casinos as I can on the strip. So
Oh,
we'll see how many I can get.
awesome. You big poker player?
I relatively new,
Okay,
but I've been studying a lot, and I really just like the game for what it is, and
for sure.
just the discipline and deceptive. Like I just love it all. So
Absolutely.
um,
It's actually funny. A lot of people have whether it's called me or DM me and asked me to like explain EV betting to them. I
yeah,
always use a poker term or a poker analogy, and I say, imagine you're I don't know, the flop comes right, and you have X amount of outs,
sure,
and with this edge that you're getting with sports betting or EV betting, you're given one or two more outs. That's the
yeah,
difference between a pro poker player folding or going all in on a certain hand. Just two more outs, that percentage, all they need, just optimal sports betting, optimal gambling. And that's really what it is.
yeah. No, I absolutely. I mean, it's the decision to fold in the flop when you're faced with a bet, and you have the turn and river to go. I don't know how many people here watching are into poker, but yeah, it's a split second decisions that if you fold on a split second and the turn comes and you hit your card but you've already folded your cards, it's all about making the correct play with the information you have at that given moment. And
Absolutely.
same thing with positive EV betting. um,
Absolutely.
the same rules apply. So
For sure. Well, hey, just don't run into Phil Ivey and you'll be all right.
I'm really trying to meet all the poker pros, and I'll try to get a picture with them, and then if
That'd
I
be
have
cool.
enough, I'll put a collage together, and
That would be
hopefully,
awesome. Well,
yeah.
hey, best of luck. Enjoy it.
Thank you, man. I
It's gonna
appreciate
be
it.
a good time, I'm sure. Is that
Thank you
your
very
first time
much.
in Vegas?
No, actually, so all transparency, I'm 22. Turned 21 last year. I've been to I can't even speak. Specifically, I love Aria. I've been here 4 times. This is my fifth time.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, I've been here, quite a bit, I guess, for being a year of legal age.
Yeah,
So I just love Vegas in general.
absolutely.
I'm pretty close by. I was born and raised Southern California, so just anytime I can get out here, I love it, and just a few days, and kind
Yeah,
of vacation basically.
absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Vegas is, you know what? I hate it and I love it.
Yeah,
And, you walk away from Vegas being like, I never want to come back here, and then a month later, you're like, I gotta go back.
no, really, that's exactly how it goes. You said it spot on. I
Yeah,
couldn't have said it better.
but that's awesome. But I guess we can just go on and kind of obviously this is regarding Oddsjam and your experience with Oddsjam. So tell us a little bit about how you started, where
Yeah.
you found Oddsjam, and kind of how you maneuver the website.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
By the way, there's 7 people with us right now, so they're on Twitter right now. So what's up, guys?
awesome.
Welcome to the stream. Yeah, tell us a little bit about how everything started,
Yeah,
Noah.
so honestly, I don't remember exactly when I found Oddsham or when I heard about it. Um, but I remember specifically, because my sports betting background or history started when I was underage, like 17,
Yeah,
18, and I was into daily fantasy sports and DFS for those who know. So that's kind of how I got into sports in general. Before that, I didn't really care about it much. I had no what do you? I had no preference either way. I got into DFS, and that's kind of what got me interested in sports in general, and kind of tracking players and tracking their stats, and seeing through a season what they do and this and that. And that, I think, for a lot of people, I think generally, if you start with DFS, I think that transitions well into sports betting, at least in my experience.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got into sports betting. And once I got into sports betting, I was a recreational bettor. I'm not going to come out here and say I was the greatest ever. And I'm not Vegas Dave. That's just not me. So I was just kind of betting with my buddies, and we would place $5 here, $10 there, and with zero care about the odds, zero care about payouts. Didn't matter, right? It's just for the fun of it.
Of course.
And then I started to realize some basic stats. 50, I think it was 52, 53% to break even on the year. Including juice at no vig at -110, I think it is.
Yeah.
So I started to just kind of pile on those stats and kind of really be aware of when I'm making a sports bet. And this was still recreationally, just be aware of those stats. And I got to that point where, I was actually looking into games, studying them, trying to figure out, advantages and positive EV basically at that point. And actually a couple months ago, starting October 25th, actually of this year, I started placing bets on Oddsjam. So, is Swan still with us?
Yeah, we're good right now.
Oh yeah. So yeah, October 25th, I started placing bets with Oddsjam, and just to be fully transparent, my bets currently are all paper trading essentially. They're not real money. I'm based in California. So just to let everybody know, before if anything were to get out there, I'm based in California. I'm paper trading essentially on the site. None of the bets that I make are real. But I am acting as if the bets that I make on a daily basis are real. So I will essentially, my big move, my big hope is to, as of this point, Colorado would seem to be the state to move into, to be able to get as many books as possible as I can to, actually real-time bet. But essentially what I did is, sorry if I'm going off cue a little bit here.
No, that's all you.
So yeah, I started October 25th, just paper trading, trying to track my bets. And I saw a couple of other guys on Twitter just kind of track their bets too, just like I was doing. I'd put my bets out there for people to tell if they like. And the thing that I liked about Oddsjam, and the one thing that I noticed off the bat, was the odds that I'm getting between my recreational betting and what I'm betting on Oddsjam, right? For instance, for example, I was betting maybe -190, -210 on a daily basis pretty consistently recreationally. Well, the Oddsjam, I set my personal filter to, I don't have my paper in front of me, but I think it's about +140 to -160, -170. Anything past that, I really prefer not to go over, because I'm conservative by nature, I guess. So that's maybe down the line I might increase that, but as of now, that's where I like to stick with. But it's really just understanding, like, lines matter. Like the price that you're getting on a particular bet matters. And that's something with Oddsjam that I really understood very quickly on, because, for example, I was actually looking at the calculator. I forget, Jordan, do you know by chance the calculator that shows, say for example, you put in -200 odds, you're going to have to hit 66.67% of the time to break even. Yeah. Is that the odds calculator? I forget exactly.
Like the no vig fair odds you're talking about?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, right. You input a number, say, your average bet's -200. You need to hit 66.6% chance of the time.
Yeah, it'll just, you'll take both sides, the over, the under, or each team, and then it'll just show you without the vig what the probability of each side hitting with the odds that you're getting it at.
Exactly. Yeah. So I really understood very quickly that the odds that I was betting as a recreational bettor were completely. It essentially was set up for me to lose, and I didn't realize that until I found Oddsjam, until I understood the numbers behind Oddsjam, what each thing meant, market with, positive or profit margin. Like, if you have a profit margin, if a play is 4%, every $100 in betting, that's 4%.
I have a little question,
Sure.
and it's really interesting to see how you would answer this to somebody that has no idea what a lot of this vocabulary means, especially the term market width, because that's something that
Okay.
you like actually started taking into consideration, right?
Sure.
So what does that mean to you? How can you explain it to somebody? How do you use it?
So as far as I know, and granted,
Yeah.
I've been in this pretty early on, so don't take
Yeah.
my exact word for it.
No,
But
yeah, don't.
what?
It's your interpretation of it.
Sure. So what I believe that it is essentially the, oh man, now you put me on the spot. I believe I was with a video
What
with
do you
Alex.
look at when you look at that? Like,
So
what are you
okay.
looking
Oh,
at
so
when you're
basically,
looking at that?
what I look at that,
Yeah.
right? So say for example, right? Anything on market with when it says 15 or below,
Okay.
that's how I sense my bankroll, right? So market with 15 or below, meaning I'm pretty sure that the bookmakers as a whole, on average, are pretty close together, right?
Yeah, it's like
So,
it's like confidence, essentially.
like, yeah, exactly. It's a confidence line. So the higher the
There we
market
go.
with, thanks for that, a little tip. The higher the market with, the wider the books are going to be on both ends, right? You're not going to have a confidence between all books. Now, the closer the market width, if it's 10 or 15, you're going to see a lot of these books be very close in lines because they're very confident that that's the correct line. So that's how I assess my betting for the most part. But I wouldn't say that's all. I would say a lot of it is specifically looking at line discrepancies between, 10 or 15 books and kind of comparing, okay, Caesars has this game at minus 150, but FanDuel has this game at minus 130, things of that nature.
Nice. Yeah.
I would say.
And
That's good to
obviously, you've been paper trading and all that. But since you've kept track of it on the Oddsjam page, have you noticed any like specific market that you've really succeeded in, whether it's player props, main market, alt lines, just anything like that?
Yeah, I think player props, specifically. I for some unknown reason, I tend to bet them a lot. When I pull up
they're high.
Yeah, they are. When I pull up the page, and it was funny too, because this kind of related back to when I was a recreational bettor. I would love player props, right? I mean, it was just, you go to anywhere and all you have to do is root on one guy. I would just love it. But so with player props, for some odd reason, that would be especially even now, that's the one thing that I feel I'm definitely the most profitable on, specifically with NBA player props. And that could range from points, rebounds, points, the whole 9 yards of any prop within the NBA. For some odd reason, I'm hitting at a pretty good happy rate that I'm pleased with. So
that's really funny because player props are like either you're amazing at them or you can't hit them to save your life, and there's no in between.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
remember beginning of the NBA season, MGM player props was an absolute gold mine, and I think in the first maybe 5 games of the year, I had 8 Jimmy Butler bets on all under, and I think I won 6 of 8 or something like that. Like he was just hitting it every time by like 1 or 2 points. Like, thank God. But yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, and I'm excited to hopefully you do move out to a legal betting state, whether it's Denver or somewhere else, and
absolutely
give it a go. But obviously, Denver is the mecca of online sports books, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure you were a bit disappointed when California didn't pass it, because I was also hoping it would so I could move back home. But unfortunately,
you're from California too?
Yeah, I'm from Studio City.
Oh, LA region.
Yeah, in the Valley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Valley. Okay. Nice. Oh, I didn't
I
know
was
that.
thinking, like, oh, it'd be nice to move back, but it didn't pass. So
Yeah.
next,
No, I was frustrated to say the least.
yeah, and it was like
I was.
87% no or something like that. Or 80.
It was a
was
wide majority
Yeah,
of no. It was kind of ridiculous, but you know what are you gonna do? I guess.
exactly, exactly. So I don't know if you went over it entirely, but
Sure.
did you mention like how you first came across Oddsjam? Like, was it on a YouTube video or a Twitter
Yeah.
thing?
So honestly, it was the so Alex Monahan, co-founder of Oddsjam.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was scrolling on YouTube in kind of a gambling category, sports betting, something, and I found. I think the title of the video is Oddsjam founder won $400,000 part time. I'm sure you've seen the video or
Yeah.
want to see the video. It's pretty popular. So
Yeah,
I looked
we
at
all
that
saw that.
video and I watched the entire thing through and through. And this was back when I was recreationally betting, and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, is this real? Like I had skepticism. I can't say that word, skepticism.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think just
We're all
like a lot of
skeptics.
other people. Yeah. Very kind of wary of kind of what is this, you know? So I ended up watching that video and I watched a couple other ones, and from then on I just kind of deep dive into Oddsjam of what it is, of you know what the company is about, what do they provide. And then I think at that point I contacted one of the people over at Oddsjam. I said, hey, I'm very interested in what you guys, offer. Is there any way I could, kind of test trial essentially? They said, yeah, sure, no problem. And ever since then, I've just kind of been promoting it, through my Twitter. And I think that's kind of how I started with it, was just that simple YouTube video. And from then on, I just, down the rabbit hole of looking through, Matt Modi, he's a big contributor toward Oddsjam, and Randall Knack, I believe it is.
Yeah.
He's and then Alex, of course. So I just been trying to soak up their videos and watch them and get as much knowledge and that I can from them. So
Absolutely. And kind of what our goal has been for the
Nice.
last couple of weeks or so is, we started doing this little podcast segment where we'd get on Oddsjam users just to kind of create like a closer community.
Sure.
It's easy over Twitter. You kind of like, oh, I know this name. Oh, like he likes my stuff. Oh, this and that. But you never put a face to that person. So by
Absolutely.
doing stuff like this, it creates like this closer bond, which is also why we created a Discord.
Join the Discord.
I should.
Just
I
as
will. I will.
just as a way to kind of bring everyone closer, whether it's questions, everyone can answer them. Everyone's got their own strategy, but clearly like we're all having success, which is why we're still doing it. And just all of that coming together, the Discord I felt like would be a smart idea. So
Absolutely.
for anyone that wants to join, I'll probably put in my like Twitter bio, so you guys can go find it. But it's been really cool so far. Like just a ton of
Here it is.
a ton of conversations of like, and just like casual, just banter.
Yeah. It's great. I actually saw a couple days ago, right? You posted on your Twitter about I created the Discord, so I will join that. Give me a couple days. But
Enjoy
I
Vegas,
that.
right?
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I think your idea with that's a really cool idea, and I think that could hopefully turn out to something big. Who knows if I truly believe Oddsjam is, especially since I've started, and I'm not saying this because I paper trade or anything like that, but just from my results only, and I don't claim to be the best.
What are they looking like?
So
What
my
is that
result,
looking like?
so I think, and I posted this on Twitter. I think my last post was yesterday, and I think I'm at $2,600 in profit, and that's starting October 25th. So just under 2 months.
What are your
And
units
What's
looking
your
like?
average bet?
So I put my bankroll, and this is in real life too. I would set my bankroll at 5,000, so my units would be $50 a piece. So I try to have 100 units in my bankroll. So
Okay.
5,000 would be $50 a unit, and I tend to stick with $50 to $100 on a couple.
How do you
bets that I'll
determine?
post. What's that?
How do you determine your bankroll, like entry?
You mean like per bet?
Yeah, well, like when do you choose 50? When do you choose 100, and why?
Got you. So that has to deal with actually market with. I'm
Okay.
very, I love the numbers behind it. So the first thing that I do when I go onto Oddsjam is I'll click into the first game that I see on top of the board. And I'll make sure that the market width specifically for me, that's a big thing. I don't know if it's, everybody has their own way, but market width is big for me. So I'll look at anything 20 and below, under market width specifically. Profit margin, I would like to have 2% and above, in a perfect world. Let's see.
This one's crazy. This is 12%.
Oh, 12%. So who are we going? Terrence Mann over 5.5 at plus 108. Oh, perfect. This is actually a perfect example, right? So this is a bet that I would specifically take, and I haven't seen the prop or the width, right? The width is 31.
31.
Which is pretty good for a player prop.
Yeah, for a player prop, it's pretty. Yeah, that's solid. So honestly, this would be a bet that I would take without looking any more into it, right? I see DraftKings specifically is a player prop. They're kind of the kind of, Jordan, like you said, the mecca of player props. I think DraftKings is. You see BetMGM at minus 150, DraftKings minus 145, and then is that Barstool at plus 108?
Yeah, Barstool at 108.
So, and Barstool is something, one book that I've been hitting pretty consistently on. And granted, of course, if I were to bet real money, I believe at either, if not now, sooner rather than later, I would be limited because of just the pure amount of action I've gotten on Barstool, because of for some odd reason, the lines are just incredible there.
They're always messing up their college basketball main markets.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Jordan's still hitting Barstool, right? You can still pay 100 in there.
I mean, I wore out Bet Rivers before I moved to Barstool, so I haven't been using Barstool for too long. So I'll get limited in a month or so. I'm good for now.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so this specific bet would be a bet that I take, and if you go over. If you mind scooting to the left over where the profit margin. So, we're at 12%, right?
Yeah.
Do you calculate anything else extra, or you use this?
Well, so I'll also use what Jordan spoke in his last video about, or interview with you, is
Pinnacle's odds.
Yeah, Pinnacle, or I believe
their juice.
Oddsjam and Pinnacle are very similar, correct, in odds?
Yeah, they're the same.
Yeah.
Okay,
they're
so yeah, for me,
Oddsjam's lines right here.
Yeah, for me, I'll use Oddsjam's line, and I'll do the exact same thing as Jordan said in his interview, where I forget, you collect the Oddsjam line, top and
no
bottom.
Vig odds. Yeah.
No Vig odds. You put those in. You collect your winning percentage, and then you put the odds of what you're getting on that game, combined with the percentage. So I'll go through that just to make sure everything kind of lines up together. And then at that point, to be honest, on this game, I would probably put a full 2-unit play. So that would be $100 for me.
Yeah, it's a fat play.
Maybe even 125 at 2.25% of my bankroll.
It's a juicer.
It looks, I mean, like, even looking at it now, I'm kind of getting, I don't have, anything on me, but like, if I was somebody right now, I would make this bet for sure.
I mean, think of it here. Juan, would you mind zooming in a little bit? I mean, shoot. I mean, you're taking plus money on both sides. Worst comes to worst, you can arb out of it.
Exactly.
And it would be a pretty easy arb because it's both plus money.
So we're getting plus 116. I see on
we got over here.
Yeah.
On the under.
Have you seen these?
Yeah.
The Bet365 player props for NBA, like Jordan, you're gonna destroy them in 2 seconds. I don't know if you hit that too.
I'm excited. For sure.
Bet365 has been bread and butter.
Oh, look at that! It's not there.
What the game start? The game might have already started. Yeah, I think.
I've had a couple of those pop-ups before.
Yeah, probably live. What's this?
Yeah, see, minus 145 on Caesars. I mean, this is another. But for me specifically, that's why line shopping is so important.
Exactly.
Is having access, and granted I don't, but let's
Live.
say, Jordan, I think you're in Arizona, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're in Arizona, or if somebody's in Colorado, is having access to these lines, because that is what is going to make you a profitable bettor in the long term. I don't, we could go head to head for a month and you could win or I could win. It's basically, in poker, it's a flip, right? I'm worried about the long term. And the only way that you win in sports betting long term is to be able to have access to all these different books and getting good lines, not paying more than what you need to be paying.
Because in the long run, that's the difference between a winning bettor and a losing bettor.
Absolutely. And that's how the books make their money. You think this, I'm in Aria right now. It's a $4 billion casino or something crazy like that. They don't make this casino off winners. They don't.
No.
It's off the slot players, and all the other people, but
off of everyone.
Off of everybody. But it's being able to figure out winning bets and placing them. Like Alex always says on his YouTube, it's math. It doesn't matter if you care about sports. If you understand the math and you care about it enough to try to make money, that's all you need to be able to do.
Absolutely.
And, right. It's a bonus if you like the sport, I think, and you like sports in general, because, you're more into it. But either way, you're winning, as long as you see a profit at the end of the day, at the end of the year.
Yeah. And the big thing also, like you talk about line shopping, is you can almost even view the positive EV page as line shopping.
Absolutely.
You can just say, oh, this play I'm getting, you expand the event and it's like, oh, shoot, I got a free point, a point and a half for free, something like that. You're line shopping, but that's also like a 4 or 5% edge. Getting a point and a half, if you look at something and it's 221 and that's at, let's call it 110 on each side, sure. You move it 1 point in one direction or another, and that turns into a minus 128 or minus 124. They're giving that 1 point so much power or so much, I don't know, like odds, whatever it is.
Edge.
Yeah. Trends, looking at those trends where they're going.
Like we talked about at the beginning with poker, you're getting one more out. That's enormous. How many times do you lose by half a point you push on instead of winning? That's crazy.
And good thing you brought that up. I was literally going to say after you were done, sorry if I interrupted.
Oh, no.
I was literally going to say, like, you're talking about these half point to a point and a half spreads. Most people, recreational bettors, could care less, right? They're like, oh, I'm getting UCLA at minus half a point, or I'm getting
those
UCLA
little details.
A point. But exactly, it's the difference between losing a bet, winning a bet, or pushing a bet. And if you're a recreational bettor and you make 2 bets, 3 bets a week or whatever, in the grand scheme, is it going to mess you up? Probably not. But over the long term, if you're a serious bettor, you want every half point you can get. You want every point you can get. You want the advantage on your side every single time that you can get, because in the long run, that is what's going to matter. And
absolutely,
it's simple as that. And I didn't realize
really
that
well said.
And I'm really curious to see. I know Oddsjam just tweeted about they're adding like line movement to their screen page, and I'm super curious to see, because that's just going to show the trends. So absolutely. Even if you're a little late to the party, see where the trend's going. If the sharps are where the money's at, and if the sharps are clearly pushing that trend one way, hop on the train maybe. Ways to view it.
Absolutely. I think that the biggest thing is in sports betting is ego and discipline, right? Is you're thinking, oh, I'm down tons of money. You know what? Let me buy back in one more time. Let me place one more sports bet for a 5-team parlay, and I'm going to win it back. It's about discipline and not letting your ego get in the way of what you want to accomplish in the long term. And that's something I had to learn.
That's
the hard
life
way.
Right there.
That's something. Yeah, that's life in general,
life.
Right?
Yeah.
Being
Welcome
able
to life.
to have discipline, and I think I'm still young. I'm 22. I don't have discipline all the time, but with this specifically, I'm trying my best to be disciplined, to be as disciplined as possible, and because that's how I'm going to win in the long run.
And I've said this, I want to say almost every video, but I'm going to say it again.
Always.
you can't beat the books. If you think, oh,
Exactly.
I should be here because this guy's hurt. No, they've already put that into the odds.
Yep.
You can't beat it. Okay, you simply cannot beat it. The only way to beat it is literally to take advantage of flaws on the
Preach it,
line,
my man. Preach it.
in the injury report or the weather. They know all of that already. They know
Absolutely.
all of that already. So don't think you can outsmart them. If you go, this team, it was like this one, right? It's like, I don't know. Niners was it 3.5-point favorites against the Seahawks tonight, and everyone's going, oh, the Niners are hot. They have the best defense in the league. There's a reason why they set it at 3.5. Okay, they have a hook in there. There's a good chance the Seahawks lose by 3. Okay, that's a very common losing number in the NFL, and that's what it is. And everyone thinks they know more, but they don't. Now, if you got a great line at like -3.5 at -110 when it should have been -130, then that's amazing. But if you're just betting that because you think you know more, you don't.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I just want to get that out there, please, everyone.
That's it.
Just try to take a step back and like almost humble yourself. It's the best way to look at things.
I have a question for Noel. Noel, right? I didn't mess it up again. Noel or
Nolan. So like
Nolan.
Ryan.
Wow. I don't know. I have no idea why they did not stick. That's insane.
No, that's all right.
I asked this to everybody. So what do your friends and family think of this practice that you're doing? Like, oh, what are you doing? Gambling?
So I figured you would ask it because I saw a couple of interviews yesterday.
Always.
So it's funny. My mom was the original person who I asked to get into daily fantasy sports. I asked her specifically because my dad, he loves to come to Vegas. He comes once a year for March Madness. But he doesn't really care much. He's just like, do what you want. So my mom was not the supportive type, but she allowed it, right? And even to this day, and that was back when I was doing DFS. Now with this, specifically with Oddsjam, they're just kind of, hey, now you graduated college, you're kind of on your own, do what makes you happy. And, if you're being a productive member of society, I guess, you do you. But I think for my family, they're not one person in my family is like a sports bettor or a gambler in general. So I wouldn't say they specifically support it outright, but again, they're not the type of people to disapprove it in a way. Out and about, I guess is what you call it. And my dad,
right now you're showing them with your documents, paper trading that, like, hey, look at all of this. Trying. Now I'm gonna make this for real because I already ran it on the numbers, and then.
Yeah, no, it's funny you mentioned that. I remember telling my dad 1 or 2 days when I started tracking Oddsjam. I said, Dad, hey, I got into this, and he knows sports betting and all that, so he was familiar with it. He's like, okay, whatever, we'll see how you do. And now, fast forward almost 2 months later, every time I tell him about it, he's like, oh, okay, we'll see. So I slowly but surely, I think, and again, they're my parents, so they're always going to have some sort of, kind of wary stigmatism around it of like, but then again, I think, especially my dad is starting to see kind of, hey, you do you. I'm not gonna bash on it or support it, but you're an adult, so kind of figure it out in that way. I think that's kind of where he's at now. My mom's just kind of supporting him. So yeah, it's my sister and my brother. I'm actually a triplet.
Oh wow!
Wow!
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So I got a sister and a brother same age, and my sister she could care less. My brother he loves it. He's all about it. This is live. Well, I'll say he's got special needs. So he's very into sports, and he enjoys it all. So he's very. I don't specifically tell him about Oddsjam or anything, but he watches sports constantly, and I watch it with him. So
Awesome.
within the sports world, he's very supportive, and I have no doubt he'd be supportive of this. And so
That's really cool. That's awesome.
yeah, thank you.
You know, it's funny you mentioned the thing about your father, because when I told my dad about it, he goes, "You're out of your mind. Like, this is so stupid, right?" Started to have some success. I go, so Dad, what do you think? He goes,
Made 20K.
I still don't like it. I go, okay, Dad. Then he calls me the next day. He goes, what do you think about scaling up? What do you think about?
No way.
I go, so now you like it? He goes, no, I was just wondering. I go, thanks, Dad. Even if he does like it, they always got to give you a hard time. That's just fathers. They got to give you.
I think that's just kind of in DNA. You're never gonna exactly support your son gambling in some sense of the next, even if it is positive EV, and it's still. I think it's just the risk taking is
of
all.
course, yeah. I mean, listen, variance, right? I mean,
God.
if you were to have a full slate, let's say you bet $3,000 or $4,000, or let's say you bet your whole $5,000 bankroll, and you went down $3,000, you'd be like, you'd be losing your mind.
Oh, sure.
And you have to trust the process, but it's tough in the moment. It's tough in the moment.
Exactly. And I was going to say, just really quick, that's part of discipline too, is say you have a really great day, is being able to calm yourself down and understand that, hey, just because I have a great day today, say like my bankroll is 5,000, say I bet 3,000 and I make a total of 8,000, understanding that today's today. Like, that doesn't mean just because I won $3,000 today does not mean that tomorrow is going to be the same thing.
No.
Is understanding your means, understanding, your like your mental kind of, what do you call it? Like just playing within your means, right? Not getting too high, but not getting too low either. Just trying to stay even keel as possible. And in sports betting, that's difficult, because if you're on a heater, all you want to do is just say, "Oh, I'm on a heater. I can't lose. I'm invincible." And
I'm on a heater.
Yeah, when you're on a losing streak, you're just like, this sucks. Blah blah blah.
How has that gone for you? What was like the heaviest variance you hit that you saw? Like, how much so far?
So
how many bets are you up? Like, how many have you placed in the 2 months?
So I think I actually did my spreadsheet yesterday or 2 days ago, and I was at 435 bets, I think.
Wow.
Within almost 2 months. So I try to get about 300 a month, I would say, give or take. I know
you're
like
placing like 5 a day ish. No, like 10 a day ish.
Yeah, more like 8 to 10 a day. I'm happy with. A slow day is going to be about 5 or 6.
And you're really picky. Do you choose you choose a certain moment you're looking for this, or like you're really picky about each one that you place, or how do you do it?
It depends. I like to go off. I'm big. I love the idea, and this is what drew me into Oddsjam in the first place, and this is what I'll stick by, is the line shopping. Even though I'm paper trading, just being able to see the line discrepancies between 10 different books. And if there's a number, like, for example, Caesars is at minus 150, and on average, all the other books are around minus 120, I'm going to take Caesars every single time just because of the number that I'm getting, right? Granted, I'll look at the game, I'll do a couple things personally, but pretty much I'm going off line discrepancy. I'm going off the market with. Profit margin's cool. It's great. I don't dislike it at all. But yeah, I'm selective. It depends, I guess, would be the answer. Certain bets, they can be a instant bet. Other bets, a little more info, a little more deep diving into.
What would you consider like a really high market width that you're just like, nope, or yes?
Anything 45 and above. What's that?
Yeah, that'll be like way too much for you.
40. Well, I would have to deep dive into that, right? For an example, if I'm placing a bet like that, where you have 40 to 45 to higher market width, and I know I saw your interview with Bacher bets, and he was telling me he was telling for the player props, he'll quit his maximum market width and he'll go toward the 50s and 60s. And I have no problem with that. And that's why personally I like that you're doing kind of the series of getting different people on and seeing their exact strategy. Because I'm big in the fact of everybody's got their own way of doing it, right? There's no one way to consistently make money using Oddsjam correctly. Like everybody can do it their own little way. So for me, and that obviously probably has to do something with being a little more conservative, is I'll stick to, anything below 40, 45 might, if it is 45, 50 or above, I'm going to do some more research into the line discrepancies, more research into the actual game itself, things like that. But I would stay personally. And this
when you say more the game itself, like, what do you mean? Sorry to cut you off, but that was just really interesting. Like, what do you mean look into more into the game itself? Like, other factors, like what?
Yeah. So say for example, it is a point spread, for example. I'm going to look into the starting lineups, right? I'm going to look into, is there anybody injured in that game? Is there anybody, like up and coming that is a rookie going to start? Things of that nature where other things can impact the game outside of just line discrepancies between 10 different books.
Interesting.
And that might just be something that I could be totally wrong on, but for me, and granted, I might have placed 1 or 2 or 3 bets over a market with a 45, but for those bets, I'm definitely looking in deeper, I think, personally. But that doesn't mean that it would not work for somebody else just looking at line discrepancies between 10 different books and picking. So
yeah, I mean, listen, the whole thing with like a lower market width is just you're going to have less variance. And with something that already has so much variance, if you can at least chop it down a little bit, it kind of you save some years on your life, I'd say, just as much stress. So like, totally get it. You'll see a lot of very high market width like shots on goal bets on like bet rivers, and they look really good on paper, and they just don't hit, and they just don't hit, and it's one of those things. It's for something like that, you either take it or you consistently take it or you consistently don't. It's the same thing on blackjack. You either always hit 16 or you never hit 16 against like a 10 or a 7 or whatever.
That's rough.
Just stay consistent. And
exactly.
And then this way you're not kicking yourself, because then that's another way to kind of get on tilt, just kind of get in your own head, and then down it goes south from there.
Yeah, I mean, once you're on tilt,
it's over.
It's hard to get off.
It's over.
In a stable mindset. So I just and that like I'm glad you brought up that kind of market width and going higher. It's just your what did you just say there? It's your
the variance you're saying?
No, your like, oh man, you just brought it up. It was a great point. It was your, like, what you're willing to, your tolerance, your tolerance. It's like you said with Margaret, it's the tolerance that you're willing to handle. And for me, I have a lower tolerance, so I'm not going to be betting that. But it's not to say that somebody with a high risk tolerance can bet those 50 and 60 market with, bets. That's fine.
One side's got to win anyways. So
yeah, one side, exactly. So personally, for me, I'm more on the conservative end, but that doesn't mean that I'm completely correct 100% of the time. Yeah. It can work for somebody else. So
yeah, I'd say like me and you we fall into the similar category in terms of like how overzealous we are with our bets in terms of odds. Yeah. Where mine will stay in between like minus 140 and plus 150 about that 160, maybe 180 for some NFL like player prop. But sure. You'll see Alex, and obviously he's been doing this and he has a lot more success than I do. He's been he's phenomenal, but he'll put down 3K on a plus 300 bet.
I've seen those on Twitter, and it boggles my mind. I mean, it's great.
More power to him. I hope it hits, but
exactly.
I get stressed just looking at it.
No, same with me, man. That's a little above my pay grade.
As volume works.
It's
volume. Yeah, you're right, Juan. Volume literally is the key to this.
It is. It's the opposite of any other thing you've ever heard about gambling.
Exactly.
Opposite.
Yeah, everybody's like, don't bet on occasion. Don't make it a habit. And
Yeah,
and then
if you
Alex,
win big, leave. If you run hot and blackjack,
Push
leave.
volume.
This
yeah, push
keep on
volume.
going. Keep absolutely.
Exactly.
Juan, do you have any other questions? I think I asked.
That's it. Yeah, we're good. I like that push volume ending because anybody all the way 45 minutes in, push volume and just stay consistent. Don't be scared of like just making a lot of. You want to go around that. You want to play with that law of large numbers as much as you can. Just flip that coin
Absolutely.
1,000 times, billion times. All right,
Absolutely.
guys. Yeah, we can end it right here. See you guys on
Yeah.
the next episode. Peace out.
All right.
Great. Thanks.
And